Okay, we're back. Have a new show, doing everything the right way. New lighting, new everything. So, very busy weekend in sports. Very busy weekend. I'm trying to get this glare out of the way. Very busy weekend in sports. Very busy weekend for the NBA, for college football. If you went to bed early last night like me, you missed what it's kind of going to turn out to be probably one of the more important things to occur in college football. Like this is going to be the deciding factor between are we going to have a season, are we not going to have a season. So we're going to get to all of that. We're going to get to Damian Lillard putting up 50 points. We're going to get it to the Clippers being, in my opinion, looking more and more like frauds. And we can get into it. But before we start, if you listen to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to it, thank you so much for listening. The other big thing, we're doing this video podcast now too, so we can put it up on Instagram and Twitter and stuff like that. It's a new experience. If you're watching this, it's a new experience. Okay, so not everything is going to be perfect early on. I've said this before. It's a work in progress. So we're working towards it, and it's going to get better. Before we start, Texas State jersey, Baltimore Orioles cartoon hat for those watching on YouTube. So it's great stuff. Let's get into the biggest news of the day. If you went to bed early, the only thing you saw yesterday was Trevor Lawrence, the preemptive number 1 overall pick in next year's NFL draft, the Heisman frontrunner in a lot of people's minds, a quarterback that has now played in 2 consecutive national championship games, trying to make it 3. The quarterback of the Clemson Tigers, Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence tweeted out this stretch of tweets yesterday, being probably the highest profile named player in college football. He goes out and he's tweeting about how the players want to be safe. It's more safe if they're not sent home. He's talking about how there's no mention of players coming from situations that aren't good in the first place. He has been the guy who a lot of people have said is now the forefront of the face of players coming back. And now if you listen to guys like Clay Travis, you listen to guys on some of these sports talk stations, some of these guys on the Twitter sphere, a lot of them are grifters. A lot of them aren't making, to be completely honest, arguments. A lot of them are kind of just focusing on 1 or 2 people. Darren Rovell, I'm not a big fan of his. He's been getting a lot of flack, in my opinion, not correctly. He's been getting a lot of flack when he probably shouldn't, for kind of bringing up the COVID numbers, bringing up, is this safe, is this not safe? So this was a big win for the side of sports media, the side of the media in general, who think that these players should go back to play no matter what. Now, I've always said that if my guys at Texas State, if my guys at Texas, at UT, at A&M, if they want to play and they find a safe way to do it, be my guest. It's better for me. It's better for my colleagues in sports media. It's better for everybody if we have sports. It's plain and simple. Multi-million-dollar industry, employing thousands of people over hundreds of websites and television shows and everything. It's more beneficial if they have a season versus if they don't. But that said, I would prefer people not dying. That's just me. So Trevor Lawrence comes out with these tweets. I think a lot of people immediately were like, well, this is a good sign for football. This is a very good sign for the Power 5 football teams, because if the number 1 player in the league, if the number 1 player in his conference wants to play, then we're probably going to have a season. Well, then last night, when most of us were asleep, a lot of the players were tweeting out this, and it is what they want. Okay, it's the hashtag we want to play, and it's the united front by the players of the ACC, Big Ten, Pac-12, SEC, and Big Ten. So, what this means? What this means is that the players have finally been able to get together. I thought that this was going to happen sooner rather than later. I thought that especially with the COVID-19 situation going on, I thought that this would be an excellent time for the players to get honestly unionize. And that's what we were or what I was kind of expecting. I was expecting young, college-educated men to kind of come together and realize that the amount of worth that they have as a collective group is in the hundreds of millions to billions of dollars, is what these conferences in the NCAA makes. And now that the players say, hey, we want some hazard pay at least, let alone, hey, maybe this could be the start of something very special, very important going forward, giving these players a little bit of money. All of a sudden now the Power 5 conferences are kind of going back. Now they don't want to play football. Now what's the safety deal? How is this safe for the players? How is this safe for the coaches? It's interesting that the minute that money can be spent to different things, now people don't want to play football. I'm curious. And again, this happens last night. We don't get to see the reaction in real time from some of these guys. But I'm doing this podcast early in the morning, Monday morning, for you guys. I'm curious to see what somebody like Clay Travis would have to say about this. Because the whole point of this, let's play games during COVID, we got to do this, this is a must, this isn't a maybe. The whole point of this was that we want to bring in revenue, we want to make money, we want to have the networks have television games, we want all of these sports to continue to play. Now, if he would have drawn the line at NFL, NBA, MLB, okay, professional sports need to go on. But what happened was, wide net, big blanket, he wanted to cover as many different fan groups as he could. This is what these grifters do. They want to go and they want to get as many people in groups as they can to bring them on their side. Maybe, okay, we open the door for you to think that COVID's not a big deal. Oh, okay, Neil, maybe we open the door for some other things. Okay, that's the mindset that these guys have. So he starts with this like, oh, well, COVID, is it really that big of a deal? Is it the flu? Car crashes, we don't outlaw cars. And now we're at the point now where a normal person, a sane person, somebody that had like cognitive reasoning would say, let's cancel the season. Okay? Baseball players are getting it left and right. Football, they still haven't figured it out yet. The NFL, the Shield, the brand hasn't figured it out yet. Why do I think that they're going to figure it out? College football, where there's a bunch more players in college football than there are in the NFL. College football has, 13 different conferences, including the FCS? There seems like too many moving parts for this to work. And now, the players say, let's play. The coaches want to play. These universities want the money to come in, but now that they have to cut a check to a player, now there's a problem. And it should show you that this never was an entertainment thing. This never was a sports thing. This never was pure and honest. And I've been thinking about this for a while. Because, you look back at the golden age of baseball. Okay? The 20s, 30s, 40s. The golden age. America's pastime. It's romanticized and it's talked about as this time period where sports was sports, men were men, and it was just pure. Okay, it was just pure fun. It was entertainment for fans. It was the players loved the game. Okay, but what people forget is those guys were getting paid. Okay, it wasn't free to go to these games. It's always been a business. It's never not been money driven. There's never not been somebody trying to make a buck. And that's what we need to look at when we look at sports in 2020. Because I think people forget that. That it's not for the love of the game. It's never been for the love of the game. Sure, you pick up a football when you're 6, you're playing with your friends in the backyard, that's fun. But when you turn 18 and you're getting paid, and universities are selling your jersey in the college, the university bookstore, and there's grown men who are getting tattoos of you, and when you win the Heisman, people are begging you for your autograph at bars and different places around town. It's not for the love of the game anymore. There's money to be had. There's money to be made. That's what sports has been built on. And it's not fun to say, but it's a fact. And I think people forget about that. And because that's a fact, and because it's always been about the money, it should show and it should reflect how wrong it is that these players haven't been paid this much or this long. And the thing, too, is that, and I'm going to pull the tweet back up again, the thing is, too, that the players aren't asking for something crazy, okay? It's not like these demands are like, we want a set salary for every single player. From my understanding, it's pretty much, hey, we would like some health insurance at some point, especially if there's long-term effects. And you saw last night ESPN ran a piece because the MAC canceled their football season. And that's affected. When an entire conference cancels their season, that affects everybody because there's other teams that play them out of conference games. Money is lost in that type of revenue. You have to figure out your schedule. You have to reschedule some teams. MAC cancels their entire season. And the reason they cited was, we don't know the long-term effects of COVID. And they canceled it before we had this entire player, hey, we want to play movement. They canceled it after UConn canceled their season, which, to be completely honest with you, that's not that big of a deal. UConn football is not good. It hasn't been good for a long time. So that one kind of felt more of, hey, we're not going to make any money anyway. Why would we risk it? Why risk it when we know we're not going to be bringing in the revenue, bringing in the money that we think we need to be to make this risk? Okay, that makes sense. MAC canceling their football games, I feel like it's in the same vein. That makes sense. But now you look around the league and you see what conferences are left. Well, the Power 5 makes billions of dollars. Okay, well, that makes sense for them to kind of continue to try to ride this out. Sunbelt, I don't know how they're hanging on for as long as they are, but according to everybody, they are. Okay? You look at Conference USA. Somehow they're still in that conversation. In my opinion, I think it's going to be the Power 5 plays games this year. I think that they are set up the best for it. It's a smaller pool of teams. I don't think a lot of these teams are going to be playing out of conference. I think the SEC is playing within themselves. This is the first time that the mega conferences, the big conferences, make sense to me. So I'm in for it. I like it. But at the same time, like this is a money-making deal. And it'll be interesting because I think today we're going to finally get some answers. We're going to finally figure out what the long-term goals are for some of these teams. And we're going to figure out what the long-term goals are for some of these conferences. Because a team like Clemson, with Trevor Lawrence, who wants to play, teams like Alabama, who want to get back in the mix, who are title contenders, I don't think that they are the type of teams to sit out. And I don't think they're the type of schools to sit out either. Clemson has Dabo Swinney. Alabama has Nick Saban. Nick Saban, he seems like a good guy on every level. Everybody I've talked to has said that Nick is a good guy. But he's a competitor too. And if there's a chance to win a title, I don't see him being the type to not go out and try to get it. So, college football, I'm still optimistic that we're going to get something. Either in the spring or in the designated time, we're going to get something. We're going to figure something out. So, all right, moving on to NBA action. I want to start this clip with Draymond Green. All right, Draymond Green, Golden State Warrior, he had a really interesting take on TNT, and I want to play it for you.
It's great to see Book playing well and Phoenix playing well, but get my man out of Phoenix. It's not good for him. It's not good for his career. Sorry, Chuck, but they got to get Book out of Phoenix. I need my man to go somewhere where he can play great basketball all the time and win because he's that type of player.
Are you tampering?
Maybe.
So, here's the deal. I absolutely love Draymond. He's been doing an incredible job on the TNT broadcasts. This is something that people have had issues with recently, with current players coming on TNT, current players coming on ESPN and kind of giving their takes. This is something that the NBA has been doing for 40 years. Something that they were doing in the 80s and 90s. Isaiah Thomas got beat in the playoffs, and then had to go do color during a finals game against the Lakers and Celtics. This happens all the time. This isn't something new. That's the first point. The second point is tampering, man. You gotta love it. The NBA, man. The NBA is the best league. And it's the best league because they figured out early how to capitalize on drama. They figured out early how to capitalize on reality TV. In the same time that shows like Jersey Shore and Keeping Up with the Kardashians are getting the best ratings on their networks, the NBA continues to be a hot ticket item for networks like TNT, networks like ESPN and ABC. These teams are little reality TV shows in themselves. And every topic we talk about today is like a reality TV show. The best parts about sports are it's live action and there's real world consequences to things. So shows like Survivor, shows like Keeping Up with the Kardashians, they don't have those real world implications. You and I's lives are not affected. And you could argue that an NBA team winning or losing a championship doesn't directly affect you, but it affects your fandom, it affects the way the league moves. So if you like one team, it's very interconnected, you're going to get involved in other teams too. And I don't know a ton of people who watch the NBA for 82 games, plus the playoffs, your team gets knocked out in, say, the second round, and then just they stop watching. I don't know a lot of people that are like that. I know a lot of people who will watch all 82 games or watch a lot of the regular season, watch some of the playoffs, and then if their team gets knocked out, they're still going to watch the finals. Or your team doesn't make the playoffs at all. That happens. People still watch the playoffs. So it's the most exciting part of sports. I think it's the best one that's all interconnected. And this Devin Booker deal, he hits a game winner on the Clippers, a team that we're going to talk about in a second. Hits a game winner on the Clippers, and it gave me, and you're going to hate me for this, it gave me Kobe vibes. It just did. I thought about it when he put 70 on the Celtics a couple years ago. I thought about it when he hit some game winners for the Suns. And I thought about it when the Suns sucked. Because Devin doesn't play a ton of defense, but he's really young, and that's something that you learn. James Harden didn't play a ton of defense early. He learned how to do it. Okay? I'm not going to hate on him too much for it. But he's in a situation now in Phoenix that's interesting. It's mind-boggling that Luka didn't go number one. It's a head-scratcher that Trae Young didn't go number one. Marvin Bagley, Aiden, both those guys drafted ahead of him. Okay? Aiden is a 7-footer. I don't blame you for drafting a 7-footer. I'm never going to say drafting the 7-footer was the wrong decision. You can't teach height. Even in the NBA going small, you need a big man. You just do. It's basketball. Height matters, okay? Goofiest guy on the little court in kindergarten, if he was the tallest dude, he's going to get picked in the top 4 picks. Size matters. It's basketball, okay? So, Aiden goes number 1, and he gets paired up with our man Devin. So, now, you have a situation where Devin Booker doesn't have that second scorer. He's got a guy in Aiden who can rebound, really good defensively, struggles to kind of stay in an offense. Can't throw the ball down to him in the post. He's not the scorer that you would want to put next to Booker. But Booker hits that game winner. Suns are 5-0 in the bubble, and this looks like his breakout. This is the first time I think people are really tuning into Suns games. Who knew it took an international pandemic for people to care about the Phoenix Suns again? This is the longest winning streak they've had since 2014. The team tweeted out that stat. I was pretty crazed by that. That's a 5-game win streak, is the longest one since 2014. Okay, take note. This bubble has been good for the Suns. But Draymond has a point, because if you don't go to the playoffs, the Suns are knocking on the door of the 9. If you don't go to the playoffs, what does this really mean for your career? Like, my man Jordan. He missed the playoffs a couple times. Okay? We don't kill him for it because he has 6 rings. We don't kill him for it because he has 6 titles. LeBron missed the playoffs 1 year, beginning of his career, made the playoffs for the next 18 years, got injured, had a young team, misses the playoffs, revamps, gets AD. When the book is written, it's not going to matter. We cared about it for 4 months. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter as much. Okay? Missing the playoffs. LeBron's got 3 rings. Devin Booker hasn't made the playoffs in his career. I think this is year 6. It's time to get going. Your career is starting. It's time to make some moves. Time to get some things done. Draymond has a point. I don't think that he should go to the Warriors. I don't think this should be some secret, okay, the Warriors Booker needs to beg for a trade, get him out of there. I'd be really nervous if the Warriors did get invited to the bubble, because that would mean that a guy like Tatum or Luka or literally any of those type of young, great players would end up on Golden State. They seem like the type of team now that's knocking on your door at 2 a.m. asking to play a card game. Okay? They're the type of team that when everybody leaves the bar, they're still there mingling. Okay? They seem like the type of team that is going to continue to go try to recruit these superstars. Is it wrong? Maybe. But it's the NBA. It's reality TV. Can you get this team on your side? It is head-scratching that Booker has been able to do what he's been able to do on the Suns. If the Suns make the playoffs this year, even if they make the 9 and get a 3-game series against the 8 seed, it's a big win for that franchise. It's a big win for Booker. So I'm very excited. I'm interested in that series. It's going to be something to kind of keep an eye on going forward. All right, moving on. Got to talk about the 76ers. Because my man Josh Eberle tweeted this out earlier. He was quoting a tweet, and he said that because Ben Simmons and Embiid are both now hurt, that this could be the end of the duo. And he said that this is something he's been thinking about for 3 years. And I immediately agreed with him, because that was my reaction too. I said this is something I've been thinking about for a while as well. Maybe not 3 years, but it's been in the front of my mind. Can you put Simmons and Embiid together? And everybody kind of didn't jump on him. I think there was 1 or 2 people who kind of had scratching, but I saw a really good point. And the point was that if you said for 3 years that duo's not going to work, then you didn't really give them a shot in the first place. You didn't really give them an opportunity to succeed. You already had preconceived ideas before they played a game. And I feel like I'm guilty of that too. I feel like I'm one of the people who did that as well. Maybe it was the Celtic fan in me. Maybe it was just the way that Brett Brown coaches. Maybe it was the Tankapalooza that they did. I don't know. But part of me didn't really love it, and I never was super on board with what they were doing in Philly. So I might have been rooting against the duo too. And maybe that was wrong. But point is, Embiid goes out yesterday. The 76ers still have a chance to win. Lillard had an incredible game. But the duo, it's coming apart. The 76ers are falling apart. They're splitting up, and it's tough to watch, tough to see, but I think at the end of the day, it's going to help the franchise. I think moving forward, it's going to help them. I would keep Simmons. I would move Embiid. I think that you can build around Simmons quicker and easier. But that said, it's going to be, this duo is not going to stick around very long. And now that they're both hurt, I don't have a lot of faith in Brett Brown's career. I think that he's going to get fired pretty quick after both these guys go down. So it's just something to kind of keep an eye on, something to kind of think about moving forward. All right, Lillard had an incredible game last night. Got to talk about it because there was other reactions to it too. So here's the deal. Damian Lillard on Friday, I want to say, no, it had to be Saturday, 2 days ago, Damian Lillard had a situation where he missed 2 consecutive free throws and lost the game to the Clippers. This is a game that the Blazers needed to win to continue to stay in the hunt. They had to win this game against the 76ers, otherwise they would have been eliminated, I'm pretty sure. So I have the highlights playing for the people on YouTube, for the guys on the podcast. Lillard had a 51-point game, had an incredible night shooting the basketball. It really looked like he was a man on the mission. He was, I think, the second or third player with 50 points in the bubble. Here's the deal with Lillard. He gets in this spat with Paul George. They look like the team to beat when it comes to the 8-9. If you're a team like the Lakers, you would prefer to see San Antonio. You would prefer to see Memphis than a team like the Blazers who kind of feel like they're on a mission. Carmelo Anthony really has found his footing. CJ McCollum has never been a superstar, but he's been a really good piece for him. Lillard is coming like a man on a mission, and it would be the Lakers' luck. It would be the type of thing to happen to LeBron and Anthony Davis for Lillard to be the guy to beat them as an 8 seed. I like Lillard. I really do. I think that he is a special, special player. If I'm any team, I'm really nervous that this guy's going to beat me come playoff time. I don't want to see him if I'm the Lakers. If I'm LeBron, I don't want to see him. And I'll tell you who does want the Lakers to see him. It's been reported the Clippers are super excited to see the Blazers beat whoever they need to beat to get into that number 8 spot. Because the Clippers are the 2 right now. They're pretty much locked in. They're not going to see the Lakers until the conference finals. And this goes to the arrogance and it's incredible. There's not been a team in league history that has crowned themselves a champion so quickly as the Clippers. I've never seen it before in my life. And they got this deal now where it's been reported that they are rooting for the Blazers to win their games because they don't want to see the Lakers. They would rather play anybody else in the conference finals, the Mavericks, the Rockets. They'd rather play anybody else than the Lakers in the conference finals. What makes you think you're going to the conference finals? In what universe are you already we got to figure out who our conference finals oppo is? No, this isn't how this works. And it pisses me off because Doc Rivers is too good of a coach. Kawhi Leonard is too good of a player. Paul George is too good of a player to have this type of mindset, but yet they do. And they lost last night to the Nets. And it wasn't a good game. They had to come back. It took a 12-0 stretch for the Clippers to come back and even compete in that game. They lost by 9 points. Where does this come from? We didn't see it. The Rockets were insufferable. Their fans were insufferable with the Harden and the Chris Paul and everything. That was bad. Rockets fans know that was not fun to listen to. It wasn't fun to watch. Okay, but they didn't crown themselves the champions. They weren't saying, "Oh well, we gotta wait for Golden State because we'll take the crown from them and then we'll beat the Cavs and it's all over." No, they were like, "We got to beat our opponents one by one." Because we know this is how the playoffs work. This is how the NBA works. You can't just say, we're going to win the title. Okay, now we won the title. No, it takes time. LeBron, early in his career, made the mistake. He did the ring thing in Miami. Not 1, not 2, not 3. He gets to the finals, collapses. He knew. It takes time. It takes effort. There's teams that come and beat you. Nobody thought the Mavericks were going to beat LeBron's Heat. Going into that series, we were like, okay, this will be 5, 6 games? 5 or 6, and then it'll be done. 5 or 6, and it'll be done. And they lost. So, for the Clippers to continue to have this arrogance, it doesn't make any sense to me. It's mind-boggling. I don't get it. Doesn't make any sense. All right. Later today, we're going to try to do another Twitch show. Hopefully, we can get that up and going for you guys. It's been a lot of fun doing this type of stuff. Had a busy weekend. Turned 23. A lot of fun. So, great stuff coming down the pipeline. Hopefully, you guys will continue to watch and listen. It's been something. Been something else. All right. I will talk to you guys later today. If not later today, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.